After the longest flight I've ever endured, I finally made it to the land down under, and it's here that I'll be exploring new foreign lands, and also battling all kinds of food monstrosities. But for the first challenge on this trip, it wasn't until nighttime, so the big man himself, Randy Santel, and myself, we had the entire day to explore. And first things first, we had some fans who offered their place to us, which was certainly appreciated. So then we hopped on a bus for a bit, which also gave Randy some time to feed his crippling addiction. Then we had to walk a bit to make our next connecting bus. Took that one for a bit. Then we made it to where we would be staying.
Alright, Randy's here! Oh my god!
What's up?
I'm Freya, nice to meet you!
Then after getting acquainted with our gracious hosts, we went to go check out some of the sights around the Sydney Harbor area. When we first arrived, we hung out for a bit, and it was at this time I was introduced to my first piece of Australian culture, in the form of boxed wine of all things, also known as a goon sack, which I just absolutely love that term. And if I'm not mistaken, it's basically the cheapest form of alcohol you can get in Australia. And I will say that I'm not that big on drinking alcohol, and if I did, I'm more of a mixed drinks or spirits kind of guy. But I figured I'd try a little bit here, and get myself immersed into that cultural experience, if you will. And of course, you've got Randy, who's always the social butterfly. Yeah. Anyways, then we made our way to the various locations throughout the area, and for what it's worth, I really enjoyed each location that they brought us to, and I was really enjoying the views. Also, since I didn't have any expectations in this regard, I think that made it much easier to enjoy the experience as a whole. Then once we finished checking out all the views, some of our hosts were getting a bit of an appetite, so what better to pair that goon bag than with some Domino's pizza? And as these adventures of exploration were winding down, the real adventure was about to be underway, as we started making our way to the restaurant to embark on our very first food challenge of the trip. And man, was I building up an appetite. Between essentially not having eaten anything since my flight, and watching our host chow down on some pizza, I was really looking forward to this challenge. I also had high hopes for this one because a decent number of people have beaten this challenge before. Unfortunately, things did not play out as I hoped, and here I explain why the following day.
I just wanted to do a little recap of things that happened last night, and this is going to be something that hopefully I don't have to talk about too much, but it does happen on these tours, and it's just one of those things where you just gotta, basically for myself, I just gotta learn to walk away. Anyways, we get to the restaurant, and it was pretty obvious with Randy's challenge that they beefed it up on him. It was massive compared to any of the photos that we seen and anything like that. It's probably because that there's a $100 voucher or whatever for it, but I knew that just based off of Randy and I's experience that if there's someone that goes second, they're more than likely going to beef it up on them as well, if not even more. It didn't help that we went with some of the guys that were staying here, and they came in and they're like, oh, Randy's gonna eat you guys out. These guys gonna eat you out of business and all this ridiculousness. So that's not a good position to win before you begin. Randy and I know this is gonna happen, like more than likely gonna happen when you come in there with cameras and stuff like that. But yeah, so I knew that once Randy's came out, and it was massive. It was a lot, or at least a lot bigger than it was supposed to be. I knew that, it wasn't going to be my favorite at all. So I just decided, you know what, you got to just kind of pick and choose your battles on this one. While I wouldn't mind trying it, it was $100 if you lose. But anyways, got a great night's sleep, feeling pretty good, especially since I didn't get that much sleep on the 20 hours or 25 hours of flight that we had. The fine folks here are going to be showing us around again. And then I believe there's a 12-stack burger challenge that we have today. Definitely looking to get my first win in Australia. Alright, so without further ado, let's get it.
Now, while it wasn't ideal, I'm glad I made the choice that I did. Because in these circumstances, I always find it difficult just to walk away, especially when I know better, given past experiences. And just on another note, in the grand scheme of things here, one of the focal points I did want to highlight is what takes place in between challenges, in order to give you a deeper, intimate look of what sort of things happen during these tours. Now, it's not so much to take shots at the restaurant when things get a bit sour, though it is kinda juicy, and I'm certainly gonna give my thoughts on it. And also, if you made it this far, I would greatly appreciate it if you took a few seconds to leave a little magic of your own by liking the video and commenting down below if you enjoy seeing these sorts of adventures which take place in between the challenges. And while I can't say that day one of this trip was ideal, as it was essentially an off day, I just simply accepted it and continued on, knowing that there would be plenty more battles ahead. And to watch the next video on this tour, tap on the video on the screen or click on the link in the description down below and I'll see you there.